Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead Podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl Team Development Khorne. So we're having a look at all the teams available in Blood Bowl 2020, whether they're from the rulebook, the Teams of Legend PDF, the expanded NAF teams, or, like this team here, the new teams that come out in the Spike magazines. And what we're doing is we're kind of having a look at each of the players individually, what skills go well on them, in what order you should take them, and really looking at actually what players you've got on your team and how to make them better. So first up, let's have a look at the big guy. So we've got the Bloodspawn here. Now the Bloodspawn is basically a player deleter. This thing comes in at 160k, very expensive piece. Movement 5, Strength 5, Ag 4+, no passing ability, Armor 9+, and a bunch of cool skills. We've got Claws, Frenzy, Loner 4+, Mighty Blow +1, and Unchanneled Fury. So this is analogous to a Minotaur in that it is a Frenzy Strength 5 piece. There are no horns, but it gets claws instead. So kind of works very similarly. Now Unchanneled Fury on this beast, basically it's going to be 2+ to blitz or block and a 4+ to do anything else. So you are going to have to use your blitz actions to get this one moving around. But what it does give you is that combination of Claws and Mighty Blow. Now, it's not as ridiculous as it was in the old edition. Basically, that combination means you can use Mighty Blow on the first one. If you don't, if you roll an 8+, you just break the armor due to Claws. And then you get to use Mighty Blow on the injury roll. So you can take a 7, and instead of it being stunned, +1, that's knockout. So this guy does combo beautifully at punching things. So strength and mutation on a general for this one, and a secondary skill is agility or general. So it's a big guy, but it's a big guy that has mutation access immediately. Amusingly, that's normally what we look for when we give claws to somebody, but it's already got claws. So let's have a look at some of the best skills to take on your Bloodspawn. So there's kind of two versions of this Bloodspawn as you move forward with your Khorne team. Brawler and Guard combo beautifully, Juggernaut and Horns combo beautifully. And this is the challenging piece about the Khorne roster, is who am I blitzing with and how often? The Bloodspawn has potential to just be in the thick of it, punching and punching and punching. As long as you keep it in contact with someone, it's a 2+ activation with Strength 5 and Frenzy, which normally adds up to 2 dice on the first Frenzy block, 2 dice on the second Frenzy block, which I refer to as a 4-die block. So it's going to be in the thick of the fighting anyway. So Brawler is a great first skill for the Bloodspawn. What Brawler does is it means you can re-roll per block 1 both down result. Just re-roll it. So that's going to be essentially 1 in 3 of your blocks with a 2-die block is going to be a 3-die block. You're going to get to re-roll it. Now what that does do is that does allow you to hit more POWs. You don't have to take it, so if it's the end of your turn, if you're happy to take the both down, you can do it, or you can re-roll it. And with 2 dice, you're likely to be able to be getting some results that you want to. Worst case scenario, skull both down, re-roll the both down. There's a really good chance that the second dice is going to be better for you, and especially where you have Frenzy, if that first result is a push, you just get another go, and that means you're rolling 5 or 6 dice per Frenzy attack, which is absolutely massive, because as soon as you get a POW, that's when this player's skills come into effect. That Claws and Mighty Blow then is 8+, 7+, that player is off the pitch for potentially the rest of the game. So Brawler is a great skill if you play your Bloodspawn in the thick of things. If he's on the line, if he is your primary blocker, okay, you want him to be in there and be a bit of a brawler, Brawler is a great skill. Now Guard combos brilliantly with that. And because of the makeup of this team focuses so heavily on multiple Frenzy blocks, Guard is a great first skill as well. So this is a really interesting piece, and it's going to be entirely down to you how you take it. Guard early on allows you to take 2-die blocks with the Bloodspawn, but also allow you to put 2 linemen next door to him and make them Bloodseekers. Bloodspawn with Guard makes this guy Strength 4 and this guy Strength 4, and that is again more dice. And as long as they shoot straight forward and leave the piece in contact with the Bloodspawn, so blocking across, you will be able to maximize your Strength 3 blocks. And if you are running a full Khorne team with a Bloodspawn, 4 Seekers and some linemen, 1 Guard piece in the middle with 2 linemen next door to it takes you from having 1 Strength 5 and 4 strength 4 to 1 strength 5, and essentially at this point with that guard skill, 6 strength 4 pieces, 4 Bloodseekers and 2 linemen standing next to the guard piece. So if you want to punch things with your Bloodspawn, take Brawler. If you want to help other people punch things around your Bloodspawn, then take Guard. Now alternatively, you can try and build your own Minotaur, and that's never a bad thing. 160k, this guy's got some serious combat power already, but no combat skills. So Brawler if you're standing there because it only works on blocks. Juggernaut if you are missiling things because it only works on a blitz. And what this will do is take one both down result on a blitz action and turn it into a push, which is huge when you are blitzing because then you get to follow up with that frenzy. So it's going to be block down, I'll turn it into a push, roll another 2 dice. Very similar to how you kind of progress the block with Brawler, except Juggernaut only works on the blitz where Brawler only works on a block. So if you're going to be blocking in situation, Brawler to make your dice better, Guard to make your friends' dice better. If you're going to be blitzing with the Bloodspawn and that's your strategy, then taking Jugs means it's going to be way more reliable. And it turns like a 1 in 9 failure case on a 2-die block into a 1 in 36, which is very much more reliable. And it also combos great with a skill that it doesn't have access to straight off the bat as well, which is Horns. So if you are in an environment, if you're in a league environment where there are other big guys and you kind of want to win the Kaiju battle, then taking Horns is going to allow you to blitz at strength 6. That's going to get you 2 dice on every target basically, and that is one of those ones that combos really well with Jugs. So you've got 4 great skills straight off the bat. Brawler for standing there and blocking, Guard to help other people around you block, Jugs if you're going to be blitzing to keep you safe, and Horns if you're going to be blitzing big targets. There are a few other skills and these are just the primaries. Break Tackle is a great skill for the Bloodspawn. Edge 4+ with Break Tackle is a 2+ dodge into the open. So once you've decided that your Bloodspawn wants to be going somewhere, that Break Tackle is going to mean that it works more than 50% of the time. It works, what, you know, on a 2+. So Juggernaut, Horns, Break Tackle becomes a really good combination for this piece. 2+ dodge away, you can get him to where you want him to be. Now, once you've got Guard, again, Break Tackle becomes a really helpful skill. Because anytime you can use Guard of the Bloodspawn instead of blitzing with the Bloodspawn, if you roll the 1 and he gets very angry and can't take the activation, you've not lost your blitz action. So being able to move around with a piece with Guard is going to be huge as well. Alternatively, Tentacles is a great choice for any big guy with mutation access, especially one like this who is so very happy to just be blocking the heck out of anybody that you want. So Tentacles is going to help keep your opponents right there with him, and it's a great skill for the Brawler Guard combo. Brawler Guard Tentacles is going to keep people tied in next to the Bloodspawn, and it's going to allow you to cross block and just murder things. If you are going to play optimally, and I see this happening on Blood Bowl 3 eventually rather than tabletop, saving up 12 SPP and taking block is the best thing you can do. That's not a surprise, you knew that was coming. Pro and Tackle are also both great general skills for the Bloodspawn, and obviously Dodge is okay too, but realistically for tabletop players, we're not going to be waiting. For 12 SPP, that's 6 casualties. This guy's going to casualty once every other game. That is a huge amount of games. That is basically the entire season, maybe even 2 seasons if you play short season leagues. That's 6 to 9 months. If you are willing to wait 6 to 9 months, block is going to be awesome. If you're not willing to wait that long, then Brawl is going to make you, it's going to hurt your opponent. Jugs is going to hurt your opponent. Horns is going to make him mighty. Guard is going to help your team succeed. So there's a ton of great upgrades here on the Bloodspawn, and if you really want to do it, you can save up forever. Hey, movement 6, pretty cool. Edge 3+, pretty cool. Strength 6 all of the time is phenomenal, but then this guy's weighing in at 240k at that point. But, you know, you've got Grashnak, Blackhoof essentially on your team then. Strength 6 +1? Yeah, alright, I'm on board with that. Next up, we've got the Bloodseekers, who are fast becoming one of my favourite positionals in Blood Bowl. These guys are Strength 4 frenzy pieces with a ton of armour as well. Right, Bloodseeker, 110k, Movement 5, Strength 4, Edge 4+, Passing 6+, just in case, Armor 10+, Frenzy, General Strength and Mutation on a primary, and Agility on a secondary skill. So these are your blockers, okay? But at Movement 5, they make reasonable blitzers as well. They're a little bit slower than Ulfwereners, but you get 4 of them, and they've all got Frenzy. So these guys deploy just a little bit off the line in most circumstances, and wait for your opponents to walk into them. If they don't, you will probably be in a situation where with 4 of these guys on your team and 5 movement apiece, your entire backfield will be covered. So whatever they do, wherever they build a cage, you will probably be able to attack with 2 dice followed by 2 dice on that cage, as long as you stack it well. So, skills-wise, when it comes to these guys, it's the same as every other piece. Any blocker has a choice of 3 great skills, and it's up to you how you take them. Block, guard, mighty blow. We've looked at the numbers, and there's not a huge amount of it in it when it comes to block and mighty blow. These guys have got frenzy, so the impact of those skills are going to come up way more regularly. Now, block is going to protect you, and it is going to result in you dropping your opponents more frequently. And when you've got frenzy, block really is king. It's hard to move past it. However, if you look at the makeup of your team, anytime you can take guard will massively help the rest of your team, okay? Because a guard piece is going to help turn a bad frenzy block into a positive frenzy block. And then, of course, if you are frenzying people, you are more likely to be smashing them into the floor. And when you've got mighty blow, they are more likely to stay there. So you've got to... it's up to you when I go block, guard, mighty blow. They are all great skills. Block is the technically correct way to go for it. Mighty blow is the technically corn way, which is all about murdery death. Okay, mighty blow is going to help that. And guard is going to give you a ton of tactical options when it comes to the rest of your team. So good luck choosing. Block is correct, you can't go wrong with it. Guard, mighty blow though will help kind of accelerate the removal and will help accelerate like the rest of your team. Some great second level, some tier 2 skills for this piece. Tackle, strength 4, frenzy tackle is just fantastic. If this guy goes block, tackle with movement 5 and frenzy at strength 4, there is going to be nobody in the backfield who is safe. A gutter runner, a Hakflem breaks free and you can get a Bloodseeker on him with tackle, that guy is dead. And that is a fantastic place to be. Tackle is very important when you are developing your teams, and you should probably end up with 1 or 2 pieces. And when it comes to a frenzy piece, it's kind of 1.5 pieces. Horns will help this dude run around and blitz things at strength 5. They've got mutations on generals, so you can do that. That will be very useful if you have a league where there is a ton of strength 4 blockers. If there's Lizardmen, Black Orcs, other Chaos teams that have that strength 4 piece, then being able to blitz with Horns is going to be really effective at just landing 4-die blocks on other strength 4 blockers. That's pretty tasty. Claw is also going to be really effective in a league with high armor. So if you've got dwarves and again some of that lizard and that block element, Claw is going to be able to turn your frenzy blocks into removal, or at least prone stunning your opponents. Now, every time you stun an opponent, it doesn't feel the work, it doesn't feel great, but you will have that TVOP advantage for at least 1 turn. That's team value on pitch. Okay, if you sat down to play a game of Blood Bowl and you said, right, you only get 9 players, I get 11, that's TVOP. Okay, you get more activations, more choice, and ultimately, when it comes to Khorne, more blocks. And more blocks is more better. So Claw is good as well. You can also take Stand Firm, which is a strength skill, is going to keep you safe if you're going to go, frolicking around the edges of the pitch, making surfs. Definitely one to be useful too. Agility on a double, dodge is great. If this guy goes block into dodge is a long way to go for SPP. This dude with Edge 4+ is not going to be scoring a huge amount of touchdowns. Making him a blodger, pretty cool. Edge 4+ dodge, not brilliant though, but it can be very useful for keeping him alive. Personally, I think that strength 4 block armor 10+ does a very good job of keeping him alive anyway. Sidestep is a fancy man's Stand Firm. So being able to kind of wander around the edge of the pitch with sidestep rather than stand firm is going to be very useful, but I'd rather take those SPP and go for block, guard, mighty blow, and then one of the second tier skills. They are seeking blood, and that is how you get it. Movement's okay. Agility 3+ can be quite good. You got like a pretty decent scorer then. Strength 5 Bloodseeker though. I know it's expensive at 190k, but you have got a big guy at that point with no nega trait. So take block. Maybe if you're feeling up for it, just brew up one and save SPP forever, and you never know, you might roll that 1 in 8 and get a strength 5 Bloodseeker. I guarantee that will do some damage to your opponent. And then you've got the Khorngors. So the Khorngors are the most complicated piece on this team. You've got a big guy, and the big guy wants to do big guy things and kill things. You've got some great blockers, the Bloodseekers. They want to be strength 4 and frenzy things and murder things, okay? Then you've got the Khorngor, and the Khorngor has got general strength and mutation as primary access. So you can build these dudes basically however you want them to be. They also are the only player on this team that gets access to passing on a secondary skill as well. So you've got a little bit of an angle in there. So, Khorngors. There's kind of two routes you can go. You can brew them up as blitzers, as combat pieces, and you can brew them up as runners. Okay, so whichever way you go, block is a very useful skill. Sure Hands is going to give you that integral reroll. Now in this roster, rerolls are going to be a little bit sparse a lot of the time. The positionals are very expensive, so that can be useful. So Sure Hands is certainly not a bad way to go, and also will protect you against strip ball in that environment. Ultimately, when you are running with a blitzer or a runner, block is the best skill. It protects the runner, gives you combat options, and also allows you to make a strength 4 blitz. That is also very useful. You can change that to wrestle if you want to create a blitzer, a sacker. Somebody whose sole purpose there is to run in and make a 2-die block to drag someone to the ground. Wrestle supersedes every other skill. Okay, if they've got Sure Hands and you've got strip ball, they're protected. If they've got block and you've got block, they're protected. If you've got wrestle, they are going down. That ball is coming out, and you should be able to then to swarm some strength around the ball. So wrestle is going to give you an option to take a Khorngor and make him into a strength 4 sacker. Block is going to be very useful for every skill, whether he's a ball carrier to protect him or as a reserve blitzer. And Sure Hands is going to make him a protected ball carrier to kind of save your rerolls. Extra arms and 2 heads will be very beneficial for the runners. Now also very useful for the blitzer build. So block into 2 heads allows you to have a 2+ dodge out. So you can then take that strength 4 blitz, because this piece does already have horns as an upgrade. So Wiz going to be blitzing at strength 4, movement 6, dodge out on a 2+. You will then be able to maneuver your player exactly where you want them to go. Extra arms and tagging on there, if you wanted to be a ball carrier, is going to be able to receive the ball on a 2+ and pick up the ball on a 2+. And again, that does kind of counter the need for rerolls most of the time. It's twice as effective. Some other great skills for Khorngors. Tackle, we've talked about tackle already. It is very useful on a frenzy piece, but actually having a lack of frenzy, having that strength 4 blitz, tackle becomes very useful on a Khorngor as well. Wrestle tackle is going to be great, but not as great as strip ball, and this is something that Bloodtithe Ben pointed out and is a fantastic pickup for the Khorngor. Khorngors start with Juggernaut, which means that when they're blitzing and they roll both down, it can count as a push if you want it to. Strip ball will count a push as a pop the ball out. So going in straight away and be like, that Khorngor is getting strip ball, is actually a very effective way. If you can strike at the ball carrier, as long as they don't have Sure Hands, a simple push will be able to pop that ball out. So block is going to be great for the blitzing or the running. Wrestle is going to be great at sacking the ball, and strip ball is going to be useful all of the time. So I see the Khorngors going 2 ways. 1 as kind of like a fast blitzer, and 2 as a protected armored runner. There's great ways to do it. Now, secondary skill wise, dodge is going to be fantastic as well. Building a blodge Khorngor, not a bad way to go. Being able to take leader is probably more of a tournament brew kind of thing, to kind of cheat an extra reroll into your team. In a league environment though, if you do end up at 12 SPP without spending it on your Khorngor, taking leader could be useful for your team, but they are just too useful, I think. Going Khorngor 1, Khorngor 2, block is going to help your team out the best potentially, but having that strip ball angle, that wrestle angle, or that extra arms angle is going to make your team function a little bit better. The Khorngors are yours for the making, and it's up to you how you run them. And lastly, it's the linemen. So these guys come in at 50k, movement 6, strength 3, edge 3+, passing 4+, armor 8+, frenzy. General mutation on a primary skill, and agility and strength on a secondary skill. So the Bloodborne lineman suffers when it comes to armor, suffers when it comes to combat strength, combat skills, but does benefit from the fact that it's got frenzy and they're cheap at 50k. So what do you do with your lineman when it comes to developing your team? Block is great, right? Block is the best skill you can put on one of these guys. It's going to protect them on offense, and it's going to protect them on defense. And when their armor is 8+, they are as soft as a Skaven lineman. Chucking block on there is going to be massively useful for you, because you are going to be punching things with these guys. Where they have frenzy, you are going to be punching them often when you don't necessarily want to. Alternatively, you can put wrestle on one of these pieces. So your strength 4 and strength 5 boys are going to be the ones that do the crumping. Putting block on those is going to be very useful, or pseudo block in the way of brawler. The lineman being able to take one with wrestle is going to give you that frenzy wrestle opportunity, and wrestle can function as a poor man's tackle for a safety piece. So if you've only got a couple of corn gauls and you want to be running them as runners, having a wrestle lineman is going to allow you to have some form of safety, and with movement 6 they're not bad. If you've got a support, if you've got mobile support, if you've got a piece of guard there to support him, actually you're looking to be throwing 4 dice with wrestle, and that should be able to drop anybody that you're hitting. The cool thing about these pieces is that they have mutation on a standard access. So 2 heads to give this guy pseudo Ag 2+ for dodging. Going to be very useful to keep him mobile. Claw, once they've got block, if they're going to be on the line supporting a guard piece, then that is going to be pretty great too, because you are going to be able to break anybody's armor on 8+, and that's going to be very helpful if you're already 4-die blocking with some guard support and block. Kick is going to be useful on any team, and the beautiful thing about kick with Khorne is you can drop the ball close to you if you are feeling oppressive, but realistically with kick you drop it back. What that will do is that will divide your opponent's team. You don't need to go after the ball. You can maybe send off a couple of spare linemen just to harangue the backfield, and then you're playing 9 on 7 in the front at least, and you're going to have strength, you're going to have frenzy, and the more players you have, the stronger they are and the better your frenzy blocks are going to be. You know, 2 linemen here on any target is probably going to end up with 8 dice. Okay, because one's got a 2-die block, 2-die block, and if they're still not down, the other one's got a 2-die block and 2-die block the other way. So that is why outnumbering with Khorne is going to be so useful. So kicking the ball and allowing to split the opponent's team, especially against a slow team, is going to be really, really powerful. I mean, we've got the corn gauls, but if you don't have a corn gaul, or you want to use your corn gauls as blitzers, you can chuck sure hands and extra arms on a Bloodborne lineman to give him a 2++ pickup. Now, instead of extra arms, you can go the big hand route, which will just give you a 3++ in whatever the weather. I think extra arms probably gives you a little bit more flexibility in the fact that it receives on receiving the ball as well. But linemen are there to stand on the line and to punch and be punched. So block is definitely the top tier skill for a lineman. If you're willing to wait and save up your SPP, then guard is going to unlock so much of the rest of your team. Personally, I see the Khorne team playing out with the big boys too in the damage, and also being the guard pieces and the linemen being interchangeable chaff. I know that's probably a Skaven coach's way of looking at it, but actually my strength 5 and strength 4 guys are always doing the damage here. Getting some linemen, some block to just be more resilient is going to make the whole team better, and that allows me to spend my standard access strength players them to get guard, which will unlock the line players. Because if you think about it, it's probably going to be quicker for a strength access player to get 6 SPP than it is for a lineman to get 12. So definitely one to watch on there. Mighty Blow is great, dodge is great, and frankly any of the stat ups would be great on a lineman. But honestly, I struggle to think of anything better than a block Bloodborne lineman. And then, you know what, anything after that is just a free roll when it comes to this. You can save up SPP and take that guard Mighty Blow. I would probably go block and claw. That's not a lot of SPP. What's that? 8? That's 14 SPP. 1 touchdown, few casualties, and an MVP, and that guy is there. And then you've just got a really horrible player there to back up the rest of your team, and the rest of the team is where the Khorne roster shines. The linemen are just fine. They're great fun. If they survive long enough, they can be champions, which I think is a very chaotic way to look at it. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up this video. Let me know what you think of Khorne. We won't be doing the Dream Team for a good few weeks now because I'm running Khorne in League and I really want to nail it before we go through that. But this is where I'm going with team development for these guys. This is where I'm going for each of these positionals because I genuinely think they're some of the best options out there. But hey, it's up to you how you brew your team up. If you want to go for randoms all the time, you absolutely can. I recommend it every now and again. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.
Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead Podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.